Hey, this is Joe from HomeStudioCorner.com. Since it's Halloween, I thought I'd do something terribly not practical, but potentially a little fun. I want to teach you how I make monster sounds. Now, this isn't the only way to make monster sounds, and this is probably one of the most easy, primitive way to make monster sounds, but it's really fun. And I bet you can kind of interpolate from this different things, different ways you can use this one little feature in whatever DAW you're using to do other stuff, to manipulate sounds in actually a mixing context to make it sound interesting or new or different. But today is specifically about monsters. So here's the original. These are all copies of the same vocal. Okay, here's the original. Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else. I mean, that's pretty scary to begin with. The rest of these, the only difference, there's a little panning difference, but all I did was go in and adjust the pitch of the actual file. Now, I've done things like this for the intro to my podcast before. I've not talked about how I do it. It's nothing mind-blowing, but it's kind of fun. So basically, select a piece of audio, and in Studio One, I can open up this inspector over here and come over to the transpose number. And normally it's 0, but when we change this, it's in half steps. So -12 is down an octave. Okay, so I've gone through and adjusted these to different numbers. Okay, so here is taking that same vocal down an octave.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
Hard to understand, but you blend it with the original. Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else. Yeah, it still sounds kind of dorky with me talking up there. So then other things we can do. With this one, number 3, I decided to go down, decided to go down 9 half steps.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
And then number 4, to pan one the other way, I went with -8. So 8 and 9, they're a half step difference in pitch, if you will. But together, pan left and right is pretty scary.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
You got that whole stereo thing.
Subscribe.
Add in the deep bass guy.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
Now, if you want to get really creepy, you can go higher with the notes. So this one I took up an octave. It's up 12. This one I took up 5 half steps. And these are super creepy and could be scary or funny.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
The one on the right sounds like me in 9th grade, which is awesome. But combine them all together.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
Turn those high ones down a little bit.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
Kind of interesting, kind of creepy. And then from there, the sky's the limit. We haven't done anything with plugins yet. You could go nuts creating really creepy stuff, like add in some distortion.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
I mean, that's pretty awesome right there. Let's make it more aggressive.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
That's a little much.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else. Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
Then you could throw, an amp modeling plugin on there.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
I mean, that's just horrifying. But you can go nuts. One thing I'll probably add is something to make it swirl around your head like, I don't know, maybe a flanger.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
Or maybe this is the worst mixing lesson I've ever done, and I love it.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner.
Oh, you know what? Beat delay would be a good one. Let's find beat delay. Here we go. Cross delay, really short delay.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
Make it big in stereo.
Subscribe to Home Studio Corner or else.
Oh, yeah, that gets super creepy. So there you go. How to make monster sounds. Happy Halloween. And don't forget to subscribe to Home Studio Corner.
Or